Hey guys, welcome back to Westcon RecTV. Today's video is the first of our exercise discussions. We'll split it up into upper and lower body, and you can pick and choose which exercises or specific tips you'd like to adapt into your routine. Keep in mind these exercises are intended for references, and we're not saying that they are the ideal movement for your individual training. If you have a particular goal that you're trying to reach or any difficulty with certain movements or range of motion, drop a comment down below and we'll see what we can do to help you find the best exercise for you. Let's begin with the larger upper body muscle groups, chest and back. Incline bench press is up first, working the pectoralis major and minor with assistance from the triceps brachii. The goal, regardless of whether you choose a close grip or wide grip like the one we show here, is to keep your forearms close to perpendicular with the floor so your wrists stay above your elbows. Notice my grip here is slightly wider than ideal in this set, which I recognize, but because it wasn't uncomfortable with this weight, I continued and corrected it for the next set. Next up is the seated chest press. All of these resistance machines have the ability to change their seat position and sometimes the starting grip position to fit almost anyone. This exercise is much like a traditional bench press, but now in the seated position. Notice my forearms are still traveling in a straight line, so the tension is stacked over my elbows. The benefits of using machines over free weights is that the equipment dictates your form. With free weights, there's significantly more use of stabilizing muscles to maintain proper form throughout each repetition. This is a version of the cable fly, much like the decline bench press in that it almost exclusively targets the pectoralis major with assistance from the pec minor. Beginning with the cable origin over your shoulders and behind you by stepping away from the cable tower. Using a split stance here, you're able to avoid being pulled backward by the resistance. Maintain a consistent, slight bend at your elbow and swing your arms down and in front of your body. Imagine trying to touch your elbows to your stomach. Moving on to the back, Penny's lat pull-down machine was out of order during the time of filming, but the cable towers are perfect for a kneeling lat pull-down variation. The latissimus dorsi is the primary muscle in these exercises, and the biceps brachii are assisting them. The wide grip lat pull down offers a more direct impact to your lats by limiting the amount of assistance from the biceps in this position. With a close grip cable attachment, your upper arm is now traveling out and in front of your body, which allows for more range of motion and a greater stretch of the lats. In this position, however, your biceps are able to contract further and take more of the load. It's important here to choose a weight that you're comfortable with and maintain focus on the contraction of the muscles of your back during this variation to avoid the overuse of the biceps. Another exercise for back is the row. This can be done with cables, dumbbells, or a resistance machine like the one shown here. This pronated or palms down and wide grip keeps the elbows out away from the side of the torso, which puts the majority of the workload on the muscles of the upper back, the trapezius or traps, and the posterior deltoid. Switching to a supinated grip, or palms up, brings the arms in closer to the torso and shifts the load toward the latissimus dorsi. In this example, I could get more lat activation by lowering the seat to keep my forearms closer to parallel with the floor. The biceps and triceps brachii have assisted in both the back and chest exercises, but they're also very easy to work on by themselves. The most simple and effective bicep exercises will be the bicep curl. This can be performed from a variety of angles and grips to achieve specific results. A classic supinated neutral grip will require minimal movement at the shoulder to keep focus on your biceps instead of the anterior deltoid. Try keeping your upper arm hugged into your side. Isometric activation of your lats will help keep you in this position, where the biceps will remain under tension even at the top of each repetition. Quick and challenging alternate variations of the bicep curl are ones that use different fixed positions for your shoulder or a new grip aid. The preacher curl allows for a further contraction of the biceps as the upper arm is now positioned in front of your body. In this exercise, avoid allowing your forearms to become completely vertical to keep the tension on your biceps. Single arm preacher curls can be performed with a dumbbell. By rotating out and opening up the shoulder, this curl will place more emphasis on the short head of the biceps to help build more width in the arm. Pronating your wrists for a palm down grip will force activation of the brachioradialis, which is located on top of your forearm and bridges the gap between your upper and lower arm. Hammer curls are the midway between supinated and pronated curls. With the thumb pointed upwards, this curl emphasizes the long head of the bicep brachii and the brachialis, which is similar in function to the brachioradialis, but originates further up on the humerus and has an insertion on the ulna instead of the radius. The triceps brachii are just as versatile as the biceps, but are often overlooked. This classic pronated triceps pushdown is almost identical to the supinated bicep curl, with the upper arm held steady in line with the torso. The cable here is originating above your body, and you'll extend your arm fully down and fight the resistance on the way back up. This variation of a tricep extension requires a bit more control. A step forward with one foot will keep you balanced during your set, and maintaining a tight core will help keep your upper body stationary. Your upper arms should be close to parallel with the floor until your set is complete. Again, extending your arms fully and fighting the resistance on the way back. Because your triceps are located on the posterior side of your arm, this exercise puts your triceps into a stretched position from the start. The overhead tricep extension is shown here with a dumbbell. With your elbows now pointed up towards the ceiling, gripping one side of the dumbbell with palms up, continue with the same motions as the previous tricep exercises, extending fully and fighting the resistance on the way back down. Because the hands are gripped close together, it is expected that your upper arms will not stay perfectly perpendicular to the floor, and your elbows will point out slightly throughout each repetition. With this much rotation at the shoulders, your triceps are placed in a full stretch position, and like the bicep exercises, these can all be done with pronated or supinated wrists to target the 3 different heads of the triceps brachii. To finish off the upper body demonstration, we'll show a few shoulder exercises. While the muscles of the upper back and rotator cuff play a large role in your shoulder's function and mobility, we'll focus on the 3 sections of the deltoids, the anterior, medial, and posterior heads. The shoulder press is shown here using a resistance machine. Beginning with the wide grip, palms facing forward, with your arms moving to your sides on the frontal plane, you can target the anterior and medial deltoid with some assistance from the pectoralis minor. Transitioning to a closer grip on the same machine, now with your arms moving in front of your body on the sagittal plane, you'll feel much more emphasis on the anterior deltoid as your medial deltoid is forced into a more stretched position. A similar exercise to this shoulder press is the front raise. In this exercise, however, your arms begin at your side with the weight in your hands, and each raise ends with your hands slightly above your shoulder. While the shoulder press gives a more complete contraction of the deltoid, the front raise allows for further range of motion and a more stretched position at the bottom of each repetition. The lateral raise is much like the front raise, but now working on the frontal plane again to put the emphasis back on the medial deltoid while still using the anterior and posterior deltoids. Lastly is an example of a rear delt raise. This is where the muscles of the upper back are most used to assist the posterior deltoid. To ensure you're putting emphasis on the posterior deltoid rather than the other 2 heads, bend slightly at the knees and allow an anterior tilt at the hips. This way, as you raise your arms against the resistance, your posterior deltoids are in a position to take the control from the medial deltoid. Overuse of the trapezius can be avoided by maintaining a nearly fixed position of the scapula to keep the primary motion in the joint of the shoulder. That is going to conclude our upper body exercises for today's video. As always, if you enjoyed or learned something new or otherwise useful, give us a like, drop a comment, and subscribe so you don't miss our next video, which will be targeting lower body exercises. And follow us on Instagram at westcon_RecTV. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.